Justin,
What?
what do you get if you cross one of the biggest action stars of all time with one of the greatest directors of all time in one of the greatest decades for movies to be coming out of all time? You get Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That's what you get.
Okay, I know you're excited to talk about this, but before we do, as always, if you want to become a day one, real one, make sure you hit our subscribe button, hit our like button.
We are your Distorted Theorists, and today, join us for our Throwback Thursday as we take a little step backwards to check out Terminator 2 Judgment Day. See, this was so cool because nobody knew.
Well, there had to be a sequel, didn't there?
Well, in a manner of speaking, but this was back in the 90s. Like you might have heard through the rumor mill, or if you saw in the newspaper what they were talking about.
It's like Build-A-Bear for destruction.
Well, yeah. So people were like, oh my God. So this was shown in theaters. Oh, it's another Terminator.
Yeah, I think that would have had people gassed up, I think, back then. Like, just like we feel now when a good sequel's coming, you know?
And I mean, this was the one that made Arnold Schwarzenegger a household name back in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, is it gonna be him again?
We know it is. Big boy.
Yeah. T2 Judgment Day.
I'll be back. He did say. Here we go.
Same make. Same make.
Oh, it's got the trailer guy.
Station, 1984.
I even love that
You were
they
there.
use like photos, you know?
Same model.
Well, that's what it was the callbacks,
Yeah.
right? Which you
These were taken
But what we
today.
didn't expect was him
You
to
have
be
to let
good.
me see my son. He's in great danger.
And he was a great John Connor. Like, the little shit disturber, you know?
New mission. Once he was programmed to destroy the future.
You don't know what it's like to try to kill one of
He
these
is
things.
programmed to protect.
Now his mission
Get down.
Get down.
is to protect it.
Come with me if you want to live.
Come with me. So good. I can watch this any day of the week.
His loyalty is
It
to
is
a
still
child,
Who sent
to
you?
this day
You
the
did.
definitive action.
35 years from now.
and his enemy
He's a Terminator like
And then
you,
we got the
right?
introduction of the
Not
new
like me.
Terminator
is the deadliest
T-1000.
machine ever built.
The most advanced machine.
Unknown.
This time, there are two. Terminator 2.
It was the only way to do it.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why?
If you thought you had seen it all,
Get out.
It's even kind of like now teaching AI. Like, that kid was teaching an automatic robot, you know? Like, this thing just go around killing them.
Now!
Ahead of its time.
We gotta stick together.
Not a bad
This
part. There's not a bad part in this movie.
Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This time, he's back. For good.
For good.
Trust me.
Listen, there's not one bad thing you can say about
I
this movie.
can talk about this movie for hours.
Well, it's a
on
good thing
end.
we only have about 10 minutes.
I watched it, and again, my first introduction to what Terminator 2 was, besides seeing like commercials and everything like that, was when I went to see T2 3D in Universal.
Keep talking. I'm just going to fix you. Go ahead.
I wasn't really aware of what it was. I just knew that Arnold was in it and he was on a bike, and that
Yeah.
like it was this. That was what all the taglines were. So when we came back home, I was like, well, I got to watch this. So that's when I went out and got Terminator and Terminator 2, and I was obsessed.
Well, like, that's the thing. I can't say for sure, but I might have even seen Terminator 2 before I even seen Terminator 1, because Terminator 1 did come out even before I was born.
It was
if I'm not
probably on
mistaken.
reruns on
Yeah, so I
something.
can't remember the chronological order I watched them in, but I remember just being like, This is just nonstop. This is just like your sense of panic because literally the T-1000 could be anywhere looking for them. Then you're also seeing this old Terminator star with the exoskeleton versus this new Terminator that can mold into any physical weapon that they can think of. And then, I mean, even from the subtle shots, or I say subtle, but like him replicating the foster parent, the foster parents, when there's like, hey, honey, you coming home? And then it's like,
when are you coming home? Is Wolfie okay? Wolfie's all right.
That's
honey.
right.
When are you coming home? And the guy's going,
yeah, you can mimic voices and with the milk going everywhere.
oh man.
It's funny because I said that there was no other direction that this film could have went. You had the first one, Arnold Schwarzenegger. We did it in one of our throwbacks already. Arnold shows up. He's the bad guy. He's this, endoskeleton that is unstoppable, essentially. Logically, you would have think, yes, it would. The second one, logically, even by today's standards, would have been Terminator versus Terminator. But I don't know. Do you think they decided to not just do Terminator versus Terminator? They did Terminator versus a bigger and better, newer Terminator that was first introduced in this movie.
Because I think people have asked this before, and I think the response that James Cameron has given is like, well, are we just going to do a good Terminator versus a bad Terminator? The Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, Model T800, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because then people get confused. And at the time, with the technology, that was something that had already been done in terms of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and all this other stuff where there's like clones and all this stuff. That's probably a bad example, but like it was just like, well, who's the good one? You gotta shoot the right one. You don't know who's got the right thing, bro. Like it's not gonna be anything like that. So instead of having two Arnolds, I don't think they could replicate it enough without it being like, this is a bit of some cheesy stuff. So they had to create a new threat. We already knew what the Terminator could do. So it would just been two Panzer tanks just going thunk, thunk,
Yeah,
thunk
exactly.
the
Fair
whole
enough.
time.
And I think that, and then I keep wondering as well, and this is probably for another throwback, but like the subsequent movies, they still kept Arnold as the T-800, but then they kept advancing the threat. So like, why didn't Arnold ever show up as the like T-1000 or whatever?
In a manner of speaking. So what we had in the original was the Cyberdyne Systems Model 101 T-800. Then in this one, he's slightly advanced because he has an advanced neural net processor, which allows him to learn.
True.
Then we had the T-1000, which is what was what do they call it? The hydrometallic polyalloy. What the hell does that mean? It's like liquid metal, and he says that on the bike because John Connor even says too that it was like, why doesn't he just turn himself into a bomb so he can just get me? It's like it's too complex for this to understand.
Yes.
But then what they did was then in Terminator 3...
Well, theoretically, I think she probably could have turned herself into a bomb.
Well, that was the thing. So the TX was something that could mimic these other things with different fluids.
Because remember, she does like the pulse shot and all that stuff.
And she's got like blue eyes and everything like that. But his model was the upgraded version. I think it was the 801, and it was powered by a hydrogen fuel cell, which when he threw out the window was like a little atom bomb that would blow up because he basically had a battery that could last for much longer.
Right.
And funnily enough, I've been reading through all the previous lore and everything like that because from all the Terminators that we've seen, we've had the 800, we've had the whatever you want to call the 801, we've had the 1000, the TX, and whatever the variant that I can't remember what it is.
It turns into carbon fiber eventually,
it's Dark Fate, so they can, I can't remember. Anyways, and then there was this stupid Genesis one where it's John Connor is the whole thing. But apparently the T-1000 was the more, if I remember correctly, was the more feared one by Cyberdyne because it was so, or Skynet, because it was so theoretical and it was so like advanced. There was only two of them made, one of which would stay behind, and they sent this one through because it was learning at a pace that
I just feel like this was it was just a ultimate hero versus ultimate foe.
Ultimate threat.
Like it was like this was, in my opinion, a true thriller aspect was right there because you had this guy that was not only dressed as a cop, which is probably, on a surface level, is chasing you. It's already giving you that, like, a cop is after me kind of thing.
Yeah, and
but then they
should help me.
Yeah, exactly. But then you got this thread of course, he starts turning himself into metal, and you're seeing the things he's doing. And I think James Cameron really pulled at a lot of strings to make it every scene that T-1000's in, he's doing something a little different. There's not just like blades going all the time. It's like, no, he's ripping in and pulling apart the elevator.
Getting shot in the face, and then the whole like,
Which was also
when
cool.
his head comes apart and seams back together. But that was what was so revolutionary for the time, because this was 91 when this came out.
I think
this was
I think
before
so.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
This was before like Schindler's List. It wasn't a ton of stuff going on then,
Man,
but like
the
it was
90s were
still.
good.
It was. This was before Con Air. This was before The Rock. This was before Phantom Menace. So the stuff that they were doing in this, that was just like, huh?
Probably felt revolutionary in a lot of ways.
That when you first see, so like again, the way that the movie is built up to that first scene in the waterways of LA.
Yeah.
Where like, okay, you did see the bar scene at the very beginning when he comes out, and you saw Robert Patrick just kind of like, we assume kill the cop, take his stuff, and just kind of go on. So then it's just like, oh, everything's so nice in LA.
Yeah.
But then when the truck crashes and Arnie blows it up because he sparks the whatever, and then
there's a behind the scenes somewhere on that too. But
trust me, I know all that.
Okay.
And then you see this like mercury just and just turns back into an unscathed Robert Patrick. It's like, that was crazy. It was like, okay, well, that was the first thing that we seen of him. Okay, he's kind of impervious to damage. He can come back.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? The next scenes that we end up going into is the stuff where you end up in the mental hospital where they're trying to rescue Sarah.
Yeah.
And of course, everything's going on. He kind of comes up out of the floor
And he comes
does the
through.
eye thing. So
Iconic.
that was like, oh my God, he can turn into someone else. That's wild.
Yeah.
And then when he's able to just kind of like, the psychiatrist or psychologist is there. It's like, no, this is going like, come with me if you want to live. And he's like, well, you can't do this. And he's like, well, he's fine there. And he's already like, he's got the gun, and he just kind of gets the gun caught, and the perfect shot of the syringe cap just falling out of what's his face's mouth.
I know, I can't remember his name, but he's in all three. He's in all three of them.
Running through and opening the
elevator.
The elevator. So that's when we first see the blade.
That's what I'm saying.
He jumps on the back, and then there's just so much more that it's just gas. But in amongst all of this, you still get the heartwarming story of like the dad figure that he is becoming for John Connor. And Sarah never really quite trusts him, but then through the time she gets to know or learn. And there's some really important deleted scenes that I feel are important because it goes into more of this. Have you ever seen the deleted scenes?
No, but I feel like I probably like in passing, I mean years ago probably did witness them, but
there's one when the T-1000 actually, after doing what he does to the foster parents, he's back Robert Patrick, and he's in John's room, and he's just touching everything, and he's figuring out who he's friends with, where he goes, and I can't remember. He figures out he's been duped because he sees the collar of the dog. It's not Woofy, it's Rex or Max or whatever.
Okay. So that's how he knew.
Oh darn! I've been duped. So that's when he's like, he runs.
Yeah.
Then there's another deleted scene when when they're on the run to Mexico, and two scenes actually. One is when he learns how to smile. And it's horrific.
I think that I do believe I've seen.
And he does that. That's part of like, why do you cry? Because this is what we do. Why you're leaking? There's lubricant coming from it. But there's another part to that scene. I can't remember if it's right before this or right after it, when they basically switch his chip inside his head. So they do this really cool setup where like his head is open, they peel it back, they take out his processor, and they have the little chip that you see with Miles Dyson later on in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's when they have to go like evil good. That's basically what it is.
Switch.
And they switch it. But Sarah has the option. She tries to smash the chip, and it would take him out of commission. John stops her, and then that's when he kind of steps up. It's like, well, if you're going to understand that I'm this great leader, then you have to start listening to me too.
Right.
And then that's when it kind of goes, so that he kind of powers back on. I was like, is everything good? And he's like, yeah. And Sarah's like, yeah, it's all good. And she leaves.
Well, speaking of that, if I may, is not that I'm anyone to do it, but I do want to give Linda Hamilton her flowers on this, because you look at Terminator 1, the damsel in distress, completely,
and she's
just a damsel in distress. That's all I could do. She shows up in this second one. She is built. She is prepared, which is funny because there's one thing to portray a character who's become prepared for a new role that she has now had to take on because she knows a better future. But Linda Hamilton taking on a new role, preparing for a new role, she must have been like doing crazy workout sessions to get in shape for this movie, and it shows it when you're just doing those pull-ups.
And I think she was
awesome.
nominated for a few awards, and this movie won a ton of awards too. Especially, I think they won an Oscar for practical effects, especially when it came to the nuclear holocaust. When it shows,
which is like,
well, not even that. Like there was that part, but what they got the award for, I think, was when it showed L.A. just like the bus, like the roof ripped off and all that stuff, and then how it like comes out. Like obviously. Part of it was CGI, but it meshed with the practical effects that were so good. Oh, they're using those like high-powered leaf blowers. Just like, this is our set. Oh, there it goes. Just blew it away. But Terminator 2 is, to this day, this has been out for 35 years at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, funnily enough, we are filming this on July 5th, and it released on July 2nd, 1991. Ooh. So we are just over the 35-year mark. And it is, I said this while we were reacting, this is the definitive action movie experience. I'm sure there's plenty out that are better, but in terms of pacing, there's a slow moments, but you need it. You can't be gas the whole time.
But man, it feels like it.
Oh, it did. Well, that's the thing. That was another part of it.
Everybody's a moving part in this movie. Like there's no B-roll. There's no B-roll.
It's like 2.5 hours long, and it doesn't feel like it. As much as we like James Cameron's other films, like the Avatar movies, there's still a lot of like.
And you know what? I almost caught myself thinking, I was about to say, imagine what he would have done with a budget like Avatar for this Terminator 2. But I feel like it not having the budget and having to work with what he had within makes the movie as good as it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us for another throwback for Peter's pick, Terminator 2. As always, if you want to support our channel and you want to become a day one real one, make sure you hit our subscribe button, hit our like button, and let us know in the comments below, are you a fan of Terminator 2? Of course you are. Do you think this movie is still one of the great action thriller films of all time? And how did you feel about the T-800 versus the T-1000 when it first came out in theaters? And with that, I am the real Jossie.
I'm Peter Parkour, and like we always say around here, keep it real.